Have you ever wondered what it was like to live in a castle, meet a real knight, or see a fire-breathing dragon? Today we're traveling back 1,000 years to explore the medieval ages, also called the Middle Ages. The medieval ages lasted from about 500 AD to 1500 AD. That's a whole 1,000 years. This period began after the fall of the mighty Roman Empire and ended with the founding of new societies in the Americas. Medieval society worked very differently than today. Everyone had a specific place in what we call the feudal system. At the top was the king, who owned all the land. Below him were powerful nobles called lords and barons. Knights served these lords, protecting the land on horseback with swords and armor. At the bottom were peasants and serfs who farmed the land. Most people were born into their position and stayed there their whole lives. Life was very different back then. Most people lived in small villages and never traveled more than a few miles from home. There was no electricity, so when the sun went down, people used candles and went to bed early. People ate simple foods like bread, porridge, vegetables, and sometimes meat if they were lucky. Sugar was so expensive that only rich people could afford it. Most people couldn't read or write because there were no schools for common people. Knights were the superheroes of medieval times. These brave warriors rode horses and wore heavy metal armor that could weigh 60 pounds. They carried swords, shields, and long spears called lances. Becoming a knight took years of training. Boys started as pages at age 7, learning manners and basic skills. At 14, they became squires, helping real knights and learning to fight. Medieval castles weren't just beautiful, they were mighty fortresses. These stone structures had thick walls, tall towers, and deep moats filled with water to keep enemies out. The Catholic Church was incredibly powerful during medieval times, and the church controlled education and even influenced kings. Despite what some people think, the medieval ages weren't all dark and backward. Medieval people invented amazing things like windmills, eyeglasses, mechanical clocks, and universities. The medieval ages gave us legends like King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. One of the most terrible events was the Black Death, a deadly plague that swept through Europe in the 1300s. This disease was so bad that it killed about 1/3 of all people in Europe. Despite the challenges, the medieval ages were a time of knights, castles, kings, and peasants. Medieval people were brave, creative, and built the foundation for our modern world.